From KVUE News in Austin, you're watching Texas This Week with Ashley Goodo.
Thank you for watching Texas This Week. Texans who want their names on the March primary ballot are starting to file the necessary paperwork with the state, and the race for Texas governor is getting crowded. This morning, we're sitting down with two of the Democrats running to lead Texas. But first, let's get to the three things you need to know in Texas politics. On Thursday, a new joint committee of state lawmakers held their first hearing to review speech on college campuses. The lieutenant governor and speaker of the House created the committees on civil discourse and freedom of speech in higher ed after heated exchanges on campuses following the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Lawmakers say the reactions revealed larger problems of hostility and intimidation and mixed responses from university leaders. Accountant Mike Collier is entering the race for lieutenant governor for a third time, but this time around, he's running as an independent. As a Democratic nominee, Collier came within 5 points of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in 2018. He lost by 10 points as a Democrat 4 years ago. Collier says he's running as an independent to unite Texans across party lines. His focus, public education, and letting Texans vote to legalize gambling and THC. Governor Greg Abbott unveiled his property tax relief platform Wednesday as he launches his fourth bid for governor. The 5-point plan includes eliminating school property taxes for homeowners and appraising properties every 5 years instead of annually. We asked to talk with the governor about the plan, but did not hear back. The number of Democrats vying to take on Governor Greg Abbott in the 2026 election now sits at 4. This week, Andrew White released his platform, calling it a bold plan to fix Texas schools, healthcare, and infrastructure. We sat down to talk more about that plan and his decision to run for governor for a second time. Folks who are not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
Sure. I'm a 30-year entrepreneur. I've started 4 companies and sold 4 companies. 2 of them were residential services. One was a clean tech business, and one's a border security business. So I'm out of all of those businesses. I'm focused entirely on running for governor right now. But as an entrepreneur, I know how to create jobs, I know how to work hard, and I know how to solve problems. And those are all traits that we need in the governor's office today.
I'm going to ask you, you ran in 2018 for governor, lost in the primary. You decided to sit this last election cycle out, but you're back now. Talk to us about the timing of this run.
Sure. In 2018, we made it to the runoff, ended up losing by 20,000 votes out of 500,000. It was really close. It was kind of gut-wrenching. But a lot has changed since 2018. Today, voters, especially Democratic voters, who've lost for 30 years in a row statewide, they want a candidate who can win. And the fact of the matter is, Greg Abbott's undefeated running against politicians. He beat Wendy Davis by 21 points, right? He beat Lupe, and he even beat Beto, who I think is one of the greatest progressive candidates in Texas history, raised more money than any other candidate in Texas history as well. And he beat him by 10 points. So we have to do something different if we want to win in Texas. We can't just nominate candidates. We need to elect them. And I've never been a politician a day in my life. I'm an entrepreneur, as I said. I have fresh ideas, a new approach. I want to work with both sides to fix our problems. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm ready just to roll up my sleeves and get to work. That's what entrepreneurs do. We fix big problems. I'm not interested in the culture war stuff. I'm interested in real problems.
Yeah. You know, you say that you are running as an independent Democrat. Tell us what that means.
So an independent Democrat is someone who will unite the progressives and the moderates of our party together and then invite independents into our party. Because we've got to make the big tent a little bigger if we're going to win in November. Here are the numbers. There's only 1 million Democratic voters who vote in the primary in March, 1 million. There's 11 million voters who vote in November. The difference between those two are basically the moderates and the independents who just don't show up in primaries, right? So we need to nominate a candidate who can attract those voters. That's how we win. I look at candidates like Lizzie Fletcher, who is a moderate Democrat who ran in a district in Houston that had been Republican for many, many years. She turned it blue because she ran a balanced campaign. And that's what we need to do in Texas. I'm running in a state that's been red for 30 years. We need a strategy that works statewide. I'm not running in Lloyd Doggett's, congressional district. That's a different Democrat who can win that district. We need a Democrat who can win statewide, and that's why I'm running.
For folks who aren't familiar with you and your previous service, your political career, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I got into politics through the Houston City Council, and pretty proud of that because I had not even lived in Houston 10 years, but I had wanted to get back in politics. I'd got my law degree, and I had the flexibility to do it. So it took me 2 tries. I lost, and then came back just less than a year later because there was a special election, got elected, ended up serving 5 years, ran for mayor and did not win. And then right after that, I ran for Congress and did win. And then right after that, Tom DeLay decided that he would engage in the unprecedented mid-decade redistricting. And I became what they called collateral damage because I really wasn't a target of the redistricting originally, but it turned out that I was. And so I left Congress and came back and I ran for governor, and I was a Democratic nominee for governor in 2006. Loved the race, met an extraordinary number of great people all across Texas, and really just had a lot of fun with that race. And I've run some other times unsuccessfully, but as they say, Ashley, timing is everything, and I really do believe this is going to be an extraordinary midterm for the Democratic Party. I think people are fed up here in Texas, just as they are in many other parts of the country, and they want to see change. And Greg Abbott certainly does not represent change. He represents more of the same.
So running for governor again, 2006 and now 2026. What do you feel like has really changed in that 20 years to really encourage you to want to run? Because there are other races that you could have run for. And you've had a run for Senate before, U.S. Senate before, but you chose governor this time around. Talk to us about why that is.
I think it's where I could have the greatest impact. I think it's where a lot of my ideas will be most needed and where people will really get excited, things that I want to do with education and affordability and opportunity and corruption. Those types of issues really need attention here in the state of Texas, and the governor is in a position to, I really feel like, being the prioritizer for the state of Texas and really put issues on the table for people to chew on and see if we can possibly agree on. And people say, well, you'd be working with a Republican legislature most likely. What's that going to be like? Well, there have been other governors who've had to work with folks from the other side. And if you think about it, actually, that is the way Texas politics used to work. People found ways to come together and get along, and I think a lot of people are crying out for that kind of leadership again. And so I've learned a tremendous amount in the last 20 years. There's no way you can continue to age and watch what's going on around you and not learn a lot. And so that has certainly been my experience, and I think I'm really better prepared than in any other time in my life to step into the governor's office.
And with that, there are 4. Austin State Representative Gina Hinojosa and retired firefighter and farmer Bobby Cole round out the Democrats running for governor. If you want to see more of my interviews with the candidates, check out our streaming app, KVUE Plus. That's Texas This Week.